Welcome to the latest installment of DuckTV Sports. Alongside me is Lena. I am Dyuce Woodson. This weekend, football, soccer, and volleyball all have one goal in mind: cut down the trees.
And although the always much anticipated Oregon-Stanford game is on the Ducks' radar, we will first highlight the volleyball matchup between the #1 Cardinal and a #11 Ducks at Matt Knight Arena. After sweeping one Arizona team earlier in the week, the 11th-ranked Ducks face a devastating 5-set loss against the 18th-ranked Arizona State Sun Devils. Despite the loss, senior stud Liz Brenner had another killer night with 17 kills, 20 digs, while recording her 14th double-double of the season. Although Oregon won the first and third sets, the downfall for the team came from rallying only 12 blocks versus the Sun Devils' 21. So, Dyuce, looking at this team as a unit, how would you categorize their season if it were to end today?
I say relatively successful. They're arguably a top 10 team in the country. They're the third best team in the Pac-12, a very deep Pac-12 conference with 7 ranked teams. They have impressive wins over USC and Arizona, sweeping them last week. Their only losses coming from other Pac-12 teams. No, I don't think they have any worries in the playoffs, being as though they are undefeated in non-conference games, and that's pretty much the only thing they're playing. So it's been good.
Absolutely. Speaking of being battle-tested against Pac-12 rivals, this squad is looking to play #1 ranked Stanford here at Matthew Knight. What kind of play can we expect to see on the court? I
expect a good game. The Ducks play Cal the Thursday before, so it's not going to be much of a warm-up, being so they're the bottom feeders of the Pac-12. Stanford has the slight edge. Since the last time they played them, they won 3-1, and Stanford had 12 blocks to U06. The Ducks' defense has improved since then, however, but the Stanford will ultimately win because of their tend to spread the wealth when it comes down to scoring. The last time they played, they had 5 people score double-digit points, and the Cardinals, as a team, has 4 players that have 200 points or more this year, led by Inky Ajanaku with 290 points. The Ducks only have 2 players with this stat, that being Martine Bettendorf and Liz Brenner. Heading over to the other side of the Willamette, the #5 Oregon Ducks are heading back to Woodson after a convincing 59-41 victory over the Cal Golden Bears on Friday night. True freshman running back Royce Freeman ran for 122 yards on 2 touchdowns off 22 carries. Sophomore wideout Dwayne Stanford had 6 catches, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns as well. Marcus Mariota threw his first interception of the season, but still had 5 touchdown passes with 326 yards. Now, Lena, we have to talk about the inevitable, the Heisman race. How can we not talk about it after a performance like that?
You're absolutely right, Dyuce. Looking at Mariota's statistics going into Stanford last season, where he was also considered to be a Heisman frontrunner, it's easy to say he's already exceeded that level of play this year.
Especially since his quarterback rating is much higher than what it was last year. He's completing almost 70% of his passes, and Mississippi State, Dak Prescott, he and him are pretty much fighting for the driver's seat of the Heisman race right now. And not to mention another point, like you said, how Mariota was the front runner for the Heisman Trophy until they played Stanford. We now send it to Matt Scotton and Haley Bricker from Woodson Stadium to get a closer look at the 2014 Cardinal.
We're out here at Woodson Stadium where this Saturday the Oregon-Stanford matchup is going to take place. And just last Saturday, Stanford played the Oregon State Beavers and they dominated, only allowing 14 points for the Beavers and scoring 38.
Yeah, domination is right. Ty Montgomery took a touchdown 50 yards to the house, and that's the second time this season he's been able to do that. Really dangerous return guy back there. Running back situation, not quite as good for them right now. They have 3 running backs they're using, but none of them have more than 330 yards on the season, and they need a running back that gets at least 1,000 yards. They've had one every year since 2007. 2007, the year they didn't have one, they went 3-6, so it's vital that offense that they get one. Usually their starting running back gets around 1,700 to 1,800 yards, and I think that's really why their offense is struggling so much this year.
Yeah, they're definitely struggling, but I think the defense is doing just fine. They've been giving up on average about 250 yards, 13 points a game, and statistically, they're the defense in the Pac-12, and Louisville is coming up on top in the country, but I think, in my opinion, Stanford's the best defense.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The thing is, Louisville plays for the ACC, and the offenses over there just aren't the same offenses that they're going to see in the Pac-12. And so playing those type of offenses and coming up with those numbers makes me feel the same with you. I'm thinking Stanford's the best defense in the country right now. And Oregon hasn't been able to come out on top the past 2 years, and it's going to create a tough test for them this year. But with a Heisman candidate like Marcus Mariota at the quarterback, who knows what can happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be a great turnout this week, and definitely looking forward to watching it. Well, that's it for your Stanford scouting report. We're out here at Woodson Stadium. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Matt and Haley. As they mentioned, Stanford's defense has been their identity. With players like Shane Scrove, Trent Murphy, and Ed Reynolds gone, how do you think the Cardinals' defense will stand against the Oregon Ducks' high-powered offense?
Well, this Ducks offense is not going to be shut out again by Stanford. The main reason being that the new Cardinal defense will be facing a healthy Marcus Mariota, who had sprained his MCL the week prior to playing Stanford last year. Plus, with the addition of Royce Freeman, this Ducks squad now has a running back to hand off the bulk of the carries to.
Yes, consistency with Freeman is one huge key to help them win, since he set the UO True Frost rushing record. On the flip side, how do you think Oregon's defense will fare against Stanford's running game, since last year Tyler Gaffney completely shredded them?
Well, if you look back on how this defense played against Michigan State, who runs the ball similarly to Stanford, you'll see that star running back Jeremy Langford was held to an impressive 86 yards. Plus, some inconsistency at running back at Stanford's part. I can see this Ducks defense having a very successful night at Woodson Stadium. Speaking of football, let's talk about the other football, Oregon's women's soccer team. This unit is coming off two devastating back-to-back double overtime losses in 1 week. One away at Washington State and the other one here at home against USC. Then to go and play #1 ranked UCLA 2 days later and lose 5-0 really just resulted in a week of more losses for this Ducks team.
Those losses are definitely tough, Lena. However, the Ducks record doesn't really indicate their season, aside from the 5-0 beatings UCLA gave them on Sunday. After upsetting the 18th ranked Huskies, the Ducks are 1-4-1 then, since beating the Utes and tying with the 25th ranked Sun Devils. The question is, do you see the Ducks getting to 500 or at least having their luck turn at some point?
Looking at the squad's final 3 games, I can see a very possible win here at home against Oregon State, who is currently ranked dead last in the Pac-12. But when you look at the Ducks' away record, 0 wins, 5 losses, 2 ties, it's hard to imagine the Ducks breaking 500. Playing #1 Stanford and recently unranked Cal on their own turf might just prove to be too much for this Oregon team.
Now, out of these 3 teams, who do you see cutting down the tree?
I am the firmest believer that motivation leads to victory. With that being said, due to the playoff implications at stake, I foresee this football team ending their 2-loss drought against Stanford and coming out the victors this weekend at Woodson Stadium.
One last note, Ducks star cross-country runner Edward Cheswick will be running at the Pac-12 championships at the Metropolitan Links Golf Course in Oakland, California on Halloween. A Cheswick win would make 7 in a row for the runner. Signing off, she's Lena, I'm Dyuce Woodson. Thank you for watching. Have a good night, Eugene.